Program are those of the speakers and the host and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Hello, everybody. Welcome inside a Monday episode of Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin Town. Anthony Hartwig along the always in red Ty Bartell. And
I wouldn't say always, but a
almost
good
always.
majority of time. Yeah, for sure.
I figured I'd use the red background that I have today to wear my blue, since blue's bad on my home background.
Did you want to? Wait. You want to talk about like a purchase? I needed these. Here, show these off too. I'm always in red too because look at these. Look at these. Check off the new kicks too. I call them the YSN kicks.
Oh my gosh.
They literally look like YSN colors. They got the navy blue, the red. So I got those kicks to rep
How
YSN.
much did those set you back?
Huh?
How much did those set you back?
Those were actually over at Shoe Carnival, $30. $30 for them. So I saw them. And I was like, you know what? I love them. They're like a YSN color scheme. I need to grab a pair of these. So
Shoe
I grabbed
Carnival reminds me. Remember, we always used to go there because my mom liked the discount shoes, the famous footwear.
yeah, I think it was. I remember all the shoe
All
places.
it was just like lines and lines of just shoes. Like there wasn't organized. It wasn't like a wall like you go into Foot Locker and there's
Yeah.
all those shoes on display. It was just like aisles of just shoes. You know, let's go in there and I think they're not even display shoes. They're just like in the box. You just go and look at them.
Shoes are one of those purchases I make like every 3 to 4 years. So I was due for a couple pairs of new ones.
I used to have to buy them a lot because when I'd walk, I'd drag my toes and they would get whipped up really quick. Now that I'm in a wheelchair more than I'm walk, you don't have to buy them as often. So there's one win. Not too many of them, but there's one. But now back to the gritty-ness of YSN and what we were doing all weekend. We had a lot of coverage, and we talked about this on Friday. Today, we might have a champion crown, or we do, because the Whiting 16U finished the sweep of Creekside, and they get the Class B 16U championship as they won on Saturday 10-8 to win the championship from Creekside.
This was a great series by Whiting, and I mean they really did not allow Creekside to get any kind of breathing room, and really Creekside tried in this one. They really did, and give them credit. They came out in the top of the first with a 4 spot, jumped on Whiting 4-0, and it was like one of those games where, okay, Whiting got the 2-0 advantage. Here comes Creekside now. They're coming in with some momentum. They're trying to get a game, make a series out of this. Whiting, though, they go scoreless in the bottom of the first, but I think it's big in that they hold Creekside scoreless in the top half of the second, keep it a 4-0 game. Then Whiting comes out with a 6 spot in the bottom of the second. Creekside tries to get a run back in the top of the third. Whiting gets 4 in the bottom of the third. 10 runs in the bottom of the second and third inning combined were all the runs that were needed by Whiting, as Creekside tried to chip away with a couple in the fourth, 1 in the sixth, but it wouldn't be enough as Whiting held on for the 10-8 victory. And really, you just look at it. I know we talked a lot about Aiden Leindecker in the story, and I mean, how can you not? 3-for-4 hitter, 3 RBIs. This kid was electric all year. We've had the chance to talk with him, man. And you just see the stats that this guy put up. 471 bat, 526 on-base percentage the entire season. And oh, by the way, 21 RBIs as well. And he came up with 3 of the biggest ones of the season last night.
Yeah, and when you think about it, this Whiting team stumbled a little bit into the playoffs, right? Into the regular season, they were kind of scuffling. They lost that first place spot to to Avalanche in the Levy division. But hey, they never got faced. They kind of just said, hey, these are the playoffs. Let's regroup and let's get hot in the playoffs. How many teams do we see at any level kind of stumble into the playoffs, and that continues? And it's always like, if you're hot going into the playoffs, you have the advantage. And if you're not, you're not going to be able to flip that switch, especially in baseball. It's hard to just turn on the switch and say, hey, we're going to get right back on the horse. Whiting did it. Like they cruised.
How
They cruised through this playoffs run.
What the timing of your momentum in a season is vitally important, and really Whiting had two big spurts of momentum. They had the early one where after they lost the first game, rattled off I think some 12 straight victories before the end of the season. I think they had a much needed kind of slump where they were wavering and faltering a little bit going into the playoffs, where they had to do some identity searching. They had to find themselves. The league adjusted to them a bit. They had to readjust going into the playoffs. And boy, they caught that string of fire and they never let it go, man. As soon as that the playoffs started, Whiting was rolling all the way into the championship, and they get a sweep for the victory too. And I mean, it's a perfect example of a parity triumphing in a championship for Whiting here.
But here's the thing, like, momentum is important. They didn't have a lot of momentum going into the playoffs. The weekend before the playoffs, they stumbled and lost the first place spot to Avalanche. So somewhere in some conversations between that weekend and the start of the playoffs, which for them was I think Tuesday. So I think they had that day off, and then Tuesday. Wow, they just said, hey, let's forget about the fact that we lost first place. They believed in themselves that they were the best team in 16U throughout the whole season. For the most part of the season, they were. And they just proved to everyone that despite the stumble towards the end, they were the best team in 16U.
And I mean, they might have lost some games towards the end of the season, but even in those losses, it could help build a chip the size of the Blades extra large, I guess, on your shoulder right now, because the Whiting, that's exactly what they felt like. They were holding that top spot in that Levy division the entirety of the regular season up until that last day when Avalanche took it from them. And then everyone's talking, all right, maybe this isn't Whiting's year. Maybe they stumbled too much. I think it built that huge chip on their shoulder, and they rode that throughout the playoffs, and they made a statement in the first series, and they just kept on going all the way through.
It's a feel-good moment, Ty, because I think when they started the season off so hot, there were some rumbles around the Class B area that were like, okay, but the other teams don't have their full roster yet. They're waiting for PA kids. Like, okay, it's cool. They're really using the good start, but Whiting just kept on keeping on. Did they lose a couple of games here and there? Did they stumble a little bit? Yeah, but man, when push came to shove, they were just ready for it. They didn't care what people outside of the Whiting organization were saying. And now they win 16U, and those kids are going into 18U next year. So instead of Whiting's world for a while, and maybe Creekside and Astro, who are in the championship series now, spoiler alert in 18U, maybe they're kind of looking at Whiting as a team that's going to be nipping at their ankles for a little bit.
On top of the fact, too, like, it wasn't the easy path to get here. They swept Astro Falcon, not only in the regular season, but in the playoff series. And then they beat a Creekside team that is well-known, well-established throughout multiple leagues inside of Bob Scene Park. So beating those two teams back-to-back, that's not dodging anybody. And those are two really good teams. How about this, though, just to give Whiting their flowers, I guess, on this season. Most runs scored in 16U on this season for the Whiting team. As far as walks, most walks in the season by the Whiting team. Most RBIs was Whiting. As far as stolen bases, they were second overall. Their batting average was second overall. On-base percentage was third overall in the league. And another big number in slugging percentage, they were second in that one as well. So top three in so many offensive stats was Whiting this season, and I think that really helped them. But you take that offense, you pair it with the pitching stats that they had too. I mean, this was a great team through and through. They had multiple guys that can be utilized as an ace. They were 3-4 pitchers deep at times. You pair pitching with those kind of offensive numbers, it's a recipe for success, and that's what we saw from Whiting.
So I know we spoiled earlier and said 18U championship was set with Astro and Creekside. But let's rewind the clocks a little bit because they had to figure that out over the weekend. It was a great series between Nightline and Creekside. Nightline lost game 1, forced to game 3. Creekside came back in that game 3 and won the series 2-1.
Yeah, and you know what? Credit Creekside for beating a Nightline team that was really rolling with a lot of momentum into this tournament. And this was a flip side of what we saw Whiting, where they kind of had to pick it back up. Nightline kind of lost it towards the end there. They almost had it. They were so close to having it. But Creekside, a team that's been there, done that before. This isn't anything new to them to get to this spot in the season. They put together a heck of a game plan, and boy, oh boy, did they ever show up big time. And playing 2 games in one day was huge, I think, for Creekside to get right back out and get the momentum. But how about the similar scores of 5-2 in those games as well?
Yeah, and that was funny when it was 5-2 and then it was flipped 5-2. But the Astro Falcons, who rampaged through their series, Dura Edge, I think they were both double-digit wins for Astro Falcons. They weren't rusty at all. They just said, let's go to the championship, take care of business. They were probably watching that series just hoping, based on the way the regular season went, that Creekside would get the win, because they were really dominant against Creekside and they weren't so dominant against Nightline. So they were probably watching that series like, okay, Creekside lost game 2. Let's pick it up, boys.
Yeah, and I mean, you saw a great series too from Astro. My man Joe Roth with a 6-inning performance in that winner against Dura Edge too. So he looking really good in that, picking them to the championship game as well.
Avalanche proved the day before that against Dura Edge that it's hard to kind of just show up and play a team that's hot, right? So the Astro Falcons were not facing an easy task just because Dura Edge was the 6th seed in the playoffs. This was a Dura Edge team that kind of won their way here, and it was the first game of the playoffs for the Astro Falcons, who kind of sat on their hands for a week, but they were just ready to go from the jump. They didn't miss a beat, and that goes from the leadership on the team. It's a testament to all the coaches that lead that team. They were just ready to go, and sometimes it's hard to just tell a kid to be ready to go, or it's hard to get a kid to be ready to go. It's easy to tell them, hey, you got to be ready to go, but to actually, have it happen, not exactly the easiest thing in the world, especially when you're dealing with, 17, 18-year-olds. But, man, Astro Falcons, a great organization. They prove it yet again. They were ready to go, and they just kind of took care of business in that series.
Something about tradition that speaks volumes, man. When you have a tradition of winning and you have a tradition of success, you don't want to be that team that kind of, craps out, right, once you get to that tournament time. So Astro putting together 2 great pitching performances, and I think the margin of victory, too, is the largest we've seen in any tournament game throughout 18U, 16U, and possibly 14U as well in a combined series. So great wins back-to-back for Astro, as they left no doubt in their series.
I think Creekside's kind of that way too. I mean, they've been in the championship series a lot. They have a prestigious program themselves, and they wanted to kind of prove to everyone that they were still what they have been, and they were still the team that gets into the championship series.
And that was a heck of a series by Creekside to gut it out, battle it out after Nightline tied the series up 1-1, kind of had all the momentum in that one. You got to have to get that back. Come back to even. They brought back to an even score, and Creekside found a way to grab momentum in that one, and they didn't let it go. That's what good teams do, and that's why we have set up a championship series between Creekside and Astro yet again.
All right, Ty, some Little League Baseball over the weekend to recap as well as we venture on. I'm just going from days. So I know we're talking about Class B, and there's a championship series game last night, but I'm just going by the days they happened. So you did 9U earlier last week. I think on Wednesday you did the 9U game between Boardman and Canfield, correct?
Yes, earlier in the weekend, yep.
So Canfield came off of that and won Friday night over Poland 7-0 to win that battle at 224.
Canfield, that team's got a lot of good pitching, and that's impressive to see from such a young age. And surprise, Canfield's got pitching, so it's going to be a dangerous team in Canfield for years to come as far as the pitching quality.
You think anyone's shocked about that hey, Canfield has some pitchers that they can throw out?
Yeah, we need some pitcher quality control in Canfield.
Because of that, Poland and Boardman had to play in an elimination game on Saturday in 9U. And it was Poland that brought the bats, and they punched their way to a 19-7 win on Saturday. They eliminate Boardman's 9U team. They will move on to play tomorrow night against Canfield in that championship. You call it a series, but really it's a game for Canfield, and it's 2 games for for Poland. Canfield has to win once. Poland has to win twice. Something I learned that for baseball, after districts and throughout the rest of the way even all the way to the World Series this year, there's a change in the format. So in districts, everyone's used to that if game being there. So if you go into the championship undefeated, you have to lose twice, or that's the only way to lose the championship. But once you get out of districts in state and regionals in the World Series, that there's no if game. So you get to the championship, that championship becomes kind of like a reset button, and it's winner take all.
That's huge too. I mean, you gotta get there. You gotta just get a seat at the table, right? And once you have a seat at the table, everything once that score's 0-0, anything can happen, man.
I gotta be honest. Like if I'm the team that wins the winner's bracket, I'm kind of like put off by that, because it's like, hey, everyone else is allowed to lose and come back, but if I lose in the championship series, I'm done.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of want to earn something out of that.
It's double elimination until we get to the championship series. But I did the work and went undefeated. But I'm only allowed to lose once now.
Can't do it in the championship game.
Right?
Not allowed to do it.
It's like, hey, it's a championship. Then it's like, well, there's no reward for winning the winner's bracket, other than you're the home team. I assume you'd be the home team.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess that would be the reward, right? Just being home team.
So, like, why don't we just make it a single elimination at that point?
You can. I mean, that makes a good point.
Right? Like, if you're gonna do it that way, why not just make it a straight up bracket?
I am of the belief though that being home field in baseball or softball.
I don't even know if that's because I think in the softball districts for the championship, they still flip the coin.
That's crazy.
So I don't even think, like, just because you win the winner's bracket, you get a home on the home field automatically. So it's interesting that now there's really, after districts are still an if game. You still have to beat the team twice in district. So if you're watching baseball this weekend and tonight, you can still win a district. You can still lose tonight if you won the winner's bracket and play again tomorrow. But after districts, when you go to state or when you go to regional or when you go to the World Series, the if game's gone. So it's pretty much win the winner's bracket, and then you have to win one game, or if you lose, you're done. So what my thing is, if you're going to do it that way, why not just make the whole bracket single elimination? And there's
there's Siggy chiming in. The advantage is not playing the extra game, wasting pitching.
Right. Okay. Well, there's that advantage. You're right, Chris. I didn't think about that. So if you get the winner's bracket game, you play pretty much 2 games near the championship. If you lose, especially if you lose on the first day, you got to come down. You got to play 2 more. So you'd be playing 3 games just to get to the championship series instead of the 2. So you do have an extra game if you get into the loser's bracket.
1 extra, yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, they're always trying to err on the side of caution, and I'm all right with that too. That makes sense.
It's still funny to me that the if game goes away.
Yeah, Ant's not a fan.
It just doesn't sit right when you're thinking, like, I won the winner's bracket and everyone else was allowed to lose once, but now I can't.
Nope, not allowed now. And you get to that champion.
You know what though? Tighten up. It's a championship game. If it's a championship game, the bar gets raised.
Yeah.
My mindset just went from, oh, boo is me, to raise the bar. Let's go. Okay. We won the winner's bracket.
Winner take all.
Right. Like the bar just got raised, and it should get raised for a champion. Like, I just changed my mind.
All bets are off.
Like, now that it's happened, like, my mindset just went from, oh man, that sucks for the winners, but to no. Like, it's a championship. The bar should be raised. Like, let's go.
You need a table with 2 seats, and it's a big game.
Right.
With a chef. You don't need a table with a seat and a little empty seat on the side that you can sit in if that seat gets too hot.
If you won a championship, go out and prove it, right? Go out there and win the game. You can't just lose one and be like, we can still win.
I like it because it gives those underdog teams a chance, because then it just comes out to, we just need to win 1 game. That's it. We just need to win 1 game for a championship, and it makes those winners have to prove it.
Hey, we lost, but here's the advantage that we have that they don't, because Chris said the winner's bracket has the advantage of, not playing that extra game. The loser's bracket now has the advantage of, hey, we've been playing elimination games for the last 2 rounds. So they have it. Now they're in their first elimination game. We're used to this moment. We're used to win or go home. Let's go and put the pressure on them for a change.
It's what you love to see. It's what you love to see.
There's experience in playing elimination games. Like, when you're in the losers bracket, it's win or go home. When you're in the winners bracket game, it's win or play tomorrow in the losers bracket. So honestly, that's one advantage that the loser bracket probably has in that 1-game championship. Hey, we've been playing with our backs against the wall for the last 2 days. Let's go out there and do it again, and let's put the pressure on them.
Yeah, we need to do it one more time. We just need to go 6 innings, get a big win. That's the motto then, right?
That is the motto. And that Chris's point is especially important in baseball because softball, there's not like a pitch count really. Yeah. So just like in high school and in Class B and everything, there's just a little bit different strategy when you're looking at pitching in baseball.
Absolutely.
There should be. You got to protect the arms of the young kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's look at – we win at 9U. And like we said before, we have championships set for tonight in 12U and 11U. I want to go look at 10U real quick because I believe they played on Friday. And 10U for Friday, Boardman got the 10-0 win over Austintown, and Canfield got the 8-6 win over Poland on Friday. Then Saturday they came together. Boardman lost to Poland 4-3, a close one on Saturday. So that championship is set on tomorrow. That doesn't make grammatic sense.
Set tomorrow.
It's set tomorrow, Tuesday. Tomorrow is Tuesday. It's set for that at 6 o'clock on L1, Canfield versus Poland for 10U.
Another battle of 224 happening over at a Field of Dreams.
It seems like it's popping up a lot.
Yeah, it does. It seems like it happens a lot of times.
And then, of course, we'll move on to 11U, who got a little bit earlier start, and they've had their championship set, and they will play tonight in the first game of the championship. And if Boardman loses, as Boardman plays Poland, and Poland will have to win twice to win a championship. Once again, all that conversation we had, if you're just joining us, it's for after districts. District still, the if game is in play. So in this setting, in this format, tonight, Boardman plays Poland, and if Poland wins, they will play again tomorrow against each other on L2 tomorrow. They're on L1 today. They'll be on L2 if they have to play tomorrow. That game would be at 6 o'clock.
So you get a full slate of games too that have the potential of going off here too. You might have extra games too, but you do have some games that are guaranteed to happen right here on the network as we got to decide some more districts here.
Last but not least, we have 12U baseball, which got set Thursday, and they've been waiting since Thursday to get this championship going. Quick reminder that Poland beat Austintown in an elimination game on Thursday, 12-2 to secure their spot against Boardman. Boardman hasn't played since Wednesday when they beat Austintown 9-0 to punch their ticket into the championship. So tonight, Boardman will play Poland on field L1 at 8 o'clock. So that'll be a doubleheader with the, I believe, the 10U on L1 at 6 and then the 12U championship at 8 on L1. 11U will be on L2 tonight. You look at the last time Boardman and Poland matched up, it was in the first round. It was 4-0 Boardman. Very competitive, but Boardman pitching kind of ran away with it.
Yeah, and we've seen Boardman really put up some interesting scores and some lopsided scores as well throughout this run, and they continue to do it in a multitude of classes as well. They're doing a great job, and they showcase it once again. A lot of power over there at Boardman as far as just the differential and the way they're winning too with pitching, offense. They're doing it all.
Yeah, they beat Poland 4-0, and then they beat Austintown 9-0. So they have yet to surrender a run in this bracket.
Impressive.
So they will move to try to continue that streak tonight. Once again, same format for districts. If Poland gets the win tonight, they will play again tomorrow. If Boardman wins tonight, they are the champions.
So a championship can be crowned tonight, and you could catch it live on YSN.
The 12U will be at 8 o'clock on Field 1. So we'll have a double dose of Little League Baseball tonight as well. Before we get into it, once again, we're going by day. We have to do another game happen on Saturday for Boardman Little League softball, as the Boardman softball team 12U went on to state. They got the first round win over Talmadge on a walk-off wild pitch, pass ball, whichever way you want to call it. I saw the video. I would have probably said pass ball. 2-1 in extras. You muted yourself.
That's the kind of games you live for, with all kinds of competitiveness. I love those pitching matchups too. Give me those kind of games all day.
Well, talking about pitching, Emma Davies went all 8 innings, struck out 18, gave up that 1 run.
She's building a huge name for herself too, and everyone's going to know her by the time she gets to the varsity level.
18 strikeouts in 8 innings. That's impressive for Davies. And then the one run was knocked in by Addie Velocin. And then, of course, the other run was scored on a wild pitch. Emma Davies actually scored the game-winning run. So not only did she pitch her team to victory, she also came in and scored the walk-off victory. They played again on Sunday. They lost on Sunday. So they will play, once again, double elimination until the championship for state. So they will play tonight against Talmadge again, who they beat on Saturday. So they'll play Talmadge again. The winner will move on to that championship game on Tuesday, and we'll see where they stand after that.
We're excited to see it too. We're excited to see how everything shakes out, and you can find all kinds of games, championships and all. We can find them all crowned right here.
So Boardman will have 2 chances to get rematches, because they have Talmadge again tonight, and then they'll have a rematch with the team they lost to last night. So if they win,
they have a chance to get some back.
It will be winner take all. It's not an if game in state.
It's huge. It's huge. Just got to get there, right? Just got to get there.
Can you imagine, like, you have to play a team who you won in a crazy, crazy way, like 2-1. Like, that game can go either way. It's international tiebreaker somehow, because Boardman was the bottom of the inning. Somehow they got away with not allowing a run with a runner. You know how hard that is in Little League to say, hey, runner on second now with nobody out. We're not going to give up a run.
That's
you have to play very clean defense. You have to hope that the other team doesn't decide to bunch, which I think is silly. You have to bunt the runner over. Let's go. But no, Boardman got out of the top of the inning without a run, and then they loaded the bases, and then the pass ball let Emma Davies score the game-winning run. So that's fun, and they have a rematch with that team tonight. And like I said, because that game went that way, this game can go any way possible.
Absolutely can too. You get a seat at the table, right? Let's just see who can eat.
Mm-hmm. See who can eat. Then let's just kind of rewind again, and we have to talk about the Class B Championship Series in 18U. We talked about the semifinals. 18U started last night, and it was a dogfight. Astro Falcons all season had been dominating Creekside, just pounding them. This one, not so much. 2-1, Astro Falcons got the win, but it was they got out hit 6-2. They had to really fight and claw their way to get this victory.
It just shows, no easy wins at this level. Doesn't matter what you've done in a regular season. All bets are off once you get to this stage. And Astro was held scoreless. They scored 2 runs in the first, and Astro was held scoreless every inning since that point. They just did it with pitching and did just enough on that front. Offense gave them just enough in the first, but very uncharacteristic of Astro to have such a low offensive output. But that's all the credit to Creekside on the other way too, pitching wise. 2 really big names too. Jordan Kalinda from Astro Falcons goes 7 innings, gives up the 1 run, gets the complete game, 10 strikeouts. Another name we heard, Mark Bunch, goes 6 innings, gives up 2 hits, 2 earned runs, 6 walks, 4 strikeouts, but he goes 6 strong for them.
That second to last number you just said, I think, was the difference.
Yeah.
Because the 6 walks hurt.
They did.
You gave up 2 hits, but you gave up 6 walks.
Oh, a lot too. Yeah, look at it. The bottom of the order getting 3 walks as well. The 9 and 10 hole hitters, 8 and 9 hitters for Astro getting 3 of the 6 walks as well. So, it's loading the bases up and getting guys on base for that top of the order coming around too, and it just gives more opportunities for Astro.
They found a way. They found a way. Mark Bunch was pitching really well, only gave up 2 hits, and the Falcons still found a way. Their pitching staff struck out 10, walked to none. That's a great ratio.
It's a really good ratio too, and I mean, held a lot of guys without a hit too. The top of the order really did a good job. They had 4 hits, the top 3 hitters, but only 2 hits for every hitter following for Creekside. So it's really it was one of those situations where Astro went out like, okay, the top of the order. If you guys get your base hits, that's fine. We're going to make sure that the bottom of the order doesn't bring you guys in or doesn't get guys on for you when you guys get up. And that was the case. Like I said, 2 hits allowed to hitters 4 through 10 after the first 3.
What do baseball managers always say in postseason? You need timely hitting. You need timely hitting. Creekside couldn't get it. They had 6 hits. So they had their opportunities. They just couldn't get that timely hit.
Couldn't find a way to just get it when they needed to at the most opportune time.
Yeah, you gotta wonder how they're gonna bounce back from losing a game that they played so well in.
You can't drop 2 in a row to Astro.
You can't deflate, because Astro is someone that can really easily turn on the jets and run away from you. So you cannot come in tonight deflated. You gotta be that team that says, okay, we played really, really well. We lost. That's baseball. Let's play really, really well again, put ourselves in positions to win the game, and let's win this one. If the Astros run away with game 2, I think the series might be nailed in the coffin.
Yeah, that's a tough one to get back. I mean, especially like in this case, because then it's like you gotta go 3 straight against that. I mean, right now you talk about Astro flying. They're in the stratosphere. You got to stop them from getting to the mesosphere. And right now, Creekside's holding on to that rocket, trying to bring them back down to earth a little bit.
No matter what, it's going to be tough because you have to beat Astro 3 times no matter what, right? So you come into the series know that we have to beat this team 3 times. Maybe not 3 in a row, but we have to beat them 3 times at some point. That's hard enough. If you have to beat them 3 in a row, then you're sitting there thinking, oh, this is Mount Everest. You're halfway up and thinking this is just garbage.
Well, it becomes a little bit easier knowing you could drop a couple games and still come out with the series win. But now that you drop game 1, we talk about how pivotal, because imagine if Creekside wins it and just says, we just need to win 2 of the next 4. We just need to trade victories the rest of the way with Astro. We got this. Now it's okay. We only have room for 1 more mess up on this season. After that, it's done. We can only lose 1 more time or else we're done. So you got to go into this one needing this victory to try to make it a 3-game series.
And it's daunting, right? It's daunting to say this team has been dominating us all season. We finally played what they probably feel is one of our best games against them, and they still found a way to beat us. Like that's got to like just be mentally deflating. But you got to find a way, and baseball especially, you got to find a way to flush it and come back tomorrow. That's the beautiful and tough thing about baseball is you get a game tomorrow.
Absolutely.
It's tough because you have to bounce back really, really quickly, and it'll eat you up if you don't. But it's nice because if you're able to do it, you just have that mindset of just come back right tomorrow.
We're excited to see the continuation of this series, as game 2 going to be nothing short of exciting, I think, between these 2 teams.
This is it. This is it for Class B. Like, this is all that's left. It's been a great summer. We're going to have kind of a summer Class B recap, I guess, when this is over. But, man, it's been a great summer of Class B baseball. We've seen a lot of really good talent and some surprising teams that made some really good runs.
Go through Class B. We'll go through Little League, as they're going to be wrapping things up locally, at least, before going on to the next levels. But I mean, right now we're getting to that time where we're looking ahead to next high school season already. We're looking at 2022 in the fall.
Here it comes. I think this week we're going to be sending out our feelers, and I think if things go according to plan, next week we'll be starting our fall sports previews, whether it be football, volleyball, soccer, whatever it may be.
Exciting to start bringing some coaches on and start really getting into to fall sports. I know we don't like the weather change, but how about the fact that with the way these schools are starting, we're getting our football games in the middle of August. So we're going to get like a little bit of summer sports. It's going to be like summer/fall, because fall doesn't begin until like end of September oftentimes in Ohio. So we're going to get about a month of football at least going on in the summer. And that's going to be weird having a couple of August games now.
It's going to be weird because for me, it's always been volleyball for a week, then football, and then like everything's in full force. Now football actually is the first sport to start. I think it starts before soccer, it starts before volleyball, it starts before cross country and golf too. So first sport out of the gates is going to be football that Friday, and then the next sports start that Saturday.
It's going to be full go ahead for a lot of these sports, and we're so excited too for all that continued coverage in the fall. As Ant, we're going to have to start getting into previews a little bit. We're excited because this fall we're also going to have our first ever YSN All-Star volleyball game as well. So that's going to be exciting news. We'll stay tuned for more details on that as it's happening too. But a lot of big things continuing to happen in the fall, and we're of course excited to start getting into those previews a little bit and start looking ahead to fall sports as they're right around the corner.
Hey, here's something that I saw over the weekend. Crestview was in their first volleyball tournament, I guess you could say, this summer. They went 10-0.
Of course they did.
So,
they're you gotta imagine, out of all those teams, I guess, to just get off track, off on the tangent a little bit, out of all those volleyball teams, I wouldn't say you don't want to rank them and say that they're the most, but how can Crestview not be one of the most determined going into this season?
They were right there getting a win in regionals. They had a 13-8 lead in set 5.
It was
against a team that went to 3 straight state championship games. They were right there. So they just have to take that one step forward, that one little step forward.
Coach Hours does a great job over there. This is going to be a great season for volleyball as well. People forget how many great teams there were, and there was so much intrigue and so many views on our volleyball coverage last year. I'm so excited to uptick it some more and get some more people involved and get the communities watching some more on these really good volleyball teams in the area, because we have a lot of talent in this area as well.
Let me tell you, their freshman class might be that next step. Like you're talking about, they have to take that next step. It might just be their freshman class.
It could be too, and I'm excited too when we bring Coach Howard on to kind of talk about that and the excitement of that coming up as well.
They have another girl named Howard.
Yeah, of course we do. Another hour that knows. It'll never strike midnight. It'll never be, or it always is the midnight hour. It feels like.
Yeah, right. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Midnight hour.
Although the midnight hour is also kind of like is synonymous with the end of something, so maybe not that metaphor.
It's the end of a championship drought in Crestview's time, right?
Ooh,
here we come. It's the midnight hour.
Yeah, they. I don't think they've won a regional game in their pro. No, I think
it's been how long is it?
They might have been to the regional championship once. I know they've never won a regional, but I think back in like 2005 they went to the regional final. But I don't think they've never won a region, so they're right there. And I think if they would have beat Independence, then I mean you knock down the best, then the doors go wide open.
What's the rest when you already beaten the best, right?
Right. I mean, obviously it's volleyball. You got to go out there and take care of business like every sport. But after you beat the best, floodgates open.
I mean, you got a little bit of an easier, clearer path then, right?
I like the metaphor. The boulders get smaller. They're still there. You still gotta deal with them, but they're not.
There's always, and it always feels like for at least some of our teams, there's always that one big boulder. There's all kinds of storylines too.
It's always been Notre Dame Cathedral Latin. They're gonna avoid them this year because they moved down to Division 3.
That's what I'm saying. There's a lot, but it's gonna create new matches, and all of a sudden you're gonna find some new looking boulders too that are gonna be. There's all of a sudden new looking boulders for these teams because, like we said, football wise in Division 6, South Range lost the Kirtland boulder, but for Division 6, everyone look out! There's a boulder on your road now. That's
everyone in Division 6 is like, we just lost Springfield, but we gained Kirtland.
It's like, well,
because Springfield dropped down to 7, right?
So the boulder looks a little bit different. It's still a big boulder that sits on the path.
Like, can we just go back to Springfield? At least they're like local teams that we can root for after they beat us.
Yeah. It'll be fun though, because that's why you love these redistricts. You love the new matchups that can be created, and I love the new tournament matchups that we can see in all these sports.
And then, in football, of course, you lose Kirtland in Division 5, but you get some D4 teams that drop down to Division 5 that are going to be really tough to deal with.
Always new challenges too. Every time one door closes, another one opens, right? But that means every time that you lose,
who did West Branch beat in the regional semis? Yes, Perry. I think Perry Pirates, not Madison Perry. I think they moved from Division 4 down to Division 5, and they were a regional qualifier last year. So there's one Boulder back in your spot.
Hey, and that's the biggest case too in any sport. Once you get to that regional level, anybody beats anybody at that level.
No one will carry the intimidation factor that Kirtland did.
No, not in that.
Let's be real. There were some teams that walked into a game against Kirtland that lost before they even started the game because it was just this mental intimidation of, oh my gosh, we're playing Kirtland.
Yeah, there's certain teams that'll do that to you. And I mean, another example like Akron, St. Vincent, St. Mary's boys basketball team's another one where it's like you go against that team and it's like they do everything so right, but there's teams that'll get mentally down on themselves before that. Certain teams carry that kind of. And that's another team in St. V's that we saw shift divisions too. So that's going to be interesting.
They went into Division 1 with Louisville. I think Louisville popped up in Division 1.
Get the
thought they were leaving St. Mary's in the dust, and St. Mary's said, "Nope, we'll follow you there."
We're tagging along with you, but hey, that's exactly what Louisville welcomes is that kind of challenge all the time.
That was basketball, by the way, not football.
Absolutely.
I don't think we have any Division 1 teams in football.
Not currently, no. We do have a handful of D2 though.
So that football season always messes me up for the rest of the year because the divisions are different. So I'm like
one where it's like 7.
Like, oh yeah, Hubbard's Division 4. No, in football they are, but in every other sport they're Division 2, and it makes me all cattywampus.
Yeah, is that
I brought out that word. Yeah,
look at that.
Cattywampus. I think that's Malice in Wonderland.
But yeah, you look at the divisions too. That's the one that I always kind of get tripped up. The 7 divisions in football, but I like it too because you like the competition levels. I don't know. We always bring up that topic if it's beneficial, not beneficial. Where that kind of line is. When is too many divisions? Kind of.
We're D11.
Yeah, some states, man.
There's like 4 teams in Division 11.
You got to imagine some of those like really big states, but every state does it different. That's what we learned.
Kentucky has 1 state champion. They don't have
tough if you're a small school. Congrats.
It's because there aren't a lot of small schools in Kentucky because a lot of at least for public schools, a lot of the schools are just centered around Lexington, Louisville, in that Cincinnati suburb area. So
if you
there aren't a lot of small, tiny rural schools in Kentucky. So they just had to kind of lump everybody together.
Just get to one of those 2 major strongholds in Kentucky if you want a chance at state. Right?
Yeah, I think it's the only state that does it that way with 1 state champion for the whole state.
You got to imagine I wonder how many divisions states like Texas and California do for how big their state is with how many schools.
I think there's 5. I think Texas does the class. So there's class
5 class. Okay.
Class 1A, class 2A, class 3A, class 4A, class 5.
I think you're right. I don't remember all the states off.
I know that's how Missouri does it. And I mean, Missouri takes their high school, especially that Kansas City area, because every year I go down there and it's the middle of summer. Like our high school football seasons are starting. Our high school football previews for the whole media landscape in Youngstown, not just us, going to be starting next week. 21 WFMJ, the Muscle Connection high school football previews starting next week. So you're thinking, the second to last week of July, right? That's when our high school football previews start. I go to Kansas City in July 4th, so it's the start of July, and their local news takes, they take time away from Royals, Chiefs, whatever. They're doing high school football previews in the beginning of July.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Ahead of it. That's jumping on it early. Like we said, every school does it different, and that's what you come to find out too. There's no one way to do it.
They also get to play their state championship games in Arrowhead.
That's pretty cool. It'd
be like having our football state championship games at Cleveland's at First Energy.
I do want at First Energy at some point, honestly.
And Arrowhead also hosts the Kansas State Championship too. So isn't that weird that you actually travel to another state to play your championship?
They're like, it's Kansas City on it. That's cool.
Yeah, it's Kansas City, so yeah, let's go. And technically, there's a Kansas City, Kansas, so
there is
wrong with that.
absolutely right. There's a Kansas City, Kansas.
It's on both sides of the border.
That was one of the one things I didn't learn until I was about like 12, 13 years old. I thought for the longest time Kansas City was in Kansas.
If I had a dime for every time someone asked me when I say I'm going to Kansas City, have fun in Kansas, I'd be so rich.
Yeah.
I'm not going to Kansas, but thank you.
It makes sense because when
it's totally counterintuitive, but it's Kansas City, Missouri.
That's why. That's why when the AL NL does their little battles too, they always try to pair teams that are geographically located that are in like AL Central, NL Central. You always see St. Louis take on Kansas City in like 2-game series every year.
Oh yeah, that's the rivalry. That's the 70s series, right? So that's I think we do 2 and 2. So you do 2 games in St. Louis, 2 games in Kansas.
Yeah. That's why Cleveland does the same thing with Cincinnati every season too. So they do that kind of battle.
They can't wait for those Cincinnati games. They need some wins.
Which is like there's some that they don't make sense. Like Detroit and Pittsburgh, I think always do.
Like there are some teams that like, where do you go?
Yeah, it's like you're the leftover ones. Just go to Pittsburgh. You're just going to Pittsburgh
because Pittsburgh has Philly, but they're both in the same league, so you can't do that. And then they can't. I don't know why they didn't do it with Cleveland, but Cleveland's doing it with Cincinnati. So there's really like. Where else do you go if you're Pittsburgh? Like Baltimore?
Maybe
that's kind of close to Pennsylvania.
Like I think Minnesota does Milwaukee, right? That would make sense. I think Brewers and Twins, like for the Central, because that would make sense.
I wonder who got paired with Baltimore
in the
Nationals.
East?
You think since it's Maryland,
because it's Maryland,
that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it's Maryland, Washington D.C., which is in like it's Maryland area.
They try to push those series, and then of course the Central it's Chicago, White Sox, Cubs.
Right, that's easy.
So, but they always try to pair it up. I've noticed that too over the course of the last few years. Is they do that with they cross it with one team from the other.
Angels, Dodgers, A's, Padres, or is it the other way around?
I think it's Angels, Dodgers. That would make sense. 2 LA teams, and then
who does San Francisco get? There's a
San Francisco A's because it's the Battle of the Bay.
Okay, so then who does San Diego get?
San Diego would probably get
Arizona's NL.
Yeah, Arizona's NL. What are I'm trying to think of like all the AL West teams right off the top of my head. You got
Seattle, maybe?
Seattle would probably play one of them, yeah. And then you got the Rangers and Astros, a couple of Texas teams that would just do battle with those. That's the West is where it's just like figure it out. Like Oakland, San Fran makes sense. The 2 LA teams make sense. The other 3 just figure it out.
Who are the other 3 teams in the NL West? Or what? The Giants?
Well, no, we already said San Fran.
I know. So it's the Padres.
You have the Diamondbacks, and then
Diamondbacks.
What's that last team in the West?
I know, right? It's killing me. We're off on a total tangent. We apologize.
Yeah, it's always tough to rip them off that quickly. Is there 3 teams? There's
Dodgers, Giants, Padres, Diamondbacks.
I can't believe it. I'm just gonna let's just save everybody time. It's the it's NL West. I looked up NL West. I don't know why I'm slipping on this.
I'm gonna hate myself for not knowing it as soon as you say
the Rockies. It's the Rockies. Colorado. Yeah, there you go.
No one cares about Colorado.
But we should we see the local team.
Nobody had to look it up. That should have been a trivia question.
Yeah, should have been. We were under pressure. I was trying to get it in a time limit. I couldn't think of it.
Oh my gosh. We should take a break. Let's take a break, and we'll be back with more fun on Running Point. Monday episode on ysnlive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
21 News delivers the news as it happens, using the latest technology from where it happens.
Live here outside of the Holy Crown.
On air, online, Wednesday afternoon weather update,
Very dangerous.
and on the 21 News social media platforms.
I'm on the road right now.
21 News, the Valley's only locally owned source for trusted news since 1953.
As fine as the eye can see, the finest hardwoods from the finest trees. Made for your home and within your means, Baird Brothers will help fulfill your dreams. Let life and light come shining through in quiet morns. And heavy traffic, too. Find your easy-to-afford fine hardwood floors and doors and more at BairdBrothers.com.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsurancesolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
For a great vehicle and a great experience, come to Boardman Mitsubishi today. As always, our full lineup of Mitsubishi models comes with a standard 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Boardman Mitsubishi, your hometown Mitsubishi dealer since 1999.
But now you can see every school, to the smallest school, to the intermediate schools, to the schools in the outlying areas. It gives you coverage that you could just never get to before. It's something that's great to experience, and it's opened up a whole new wave of sports viewership. The possibilities are endless here at YSN. Push the envelope every day. Try something new. If it works, great. If it doesn't, well, let's try another angle, and we just keep moving forward. My name is Mike Ackelson, and my sports network is your sports network.
Reliability, innovation, scale. These three values are those we look forward to in our business and in our team. If you're ready for a reliable employer who looks constantly to think outside the box in big ways, we're ready for you. Apply now. Help us push the envelope and deliver success. Envelope 1. Take that one extra step.
Before the lights come on, before the workday begins, before a long day is ended, or it's time to have fun, it all starts with the people at Joe Dickey Electric. From replacing a light fixture in your home to building a substation for your business, no job is too big or too small. The people of Joe Dickey Electric power them all. Joe Dickey Electric, over 60 years of powering the Mahoning Valley.
You're not waiting to see what the world has in store for you. It's more about what you have in store for the world. All you need is the opportunity. All you need are the resources of a large university and the advantages of a personalized academic setting where you can experience new worlds in the arts and sciences, business, and education and make them your own. We are where you shape your future. We are Youngstown State University and proud.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig alongside Mr. I always point to, I'm giving up pointing. Alongside Ty Bartell.
Yeah, it's a good way to start off the week too. We got some champions crowned in Little League that we talked about. We have a champion in 16U Class B baseball, and we have game 2 going on tonight.
We'll have a champion this week.
Yeah, we will have plenty of more champions going on this week.
If you haven't seen the cool promo video the DJ put together for tonight's championship matchups, head over to our socials because it's really cool. What's the it's the same song from that Thor Love and Thunder trailer.
Sweet Child of Mine.
Sweet Child of Mine. He uses that for the, it's a really well put together video, and it also includes some of the interviews that he's done with the kids leading up to this point. So once again, DJ outdoes himself. So make sure to go over to YSN Live social media pages and give that one a look. Get yourself pumped up for tonight's championship games at the Field of Dreams.
It definitely pumped me up. That's for sure too. It was a really cool video too. I shared it as well. I couldn't help but share it.
Oh, one, you could probably put that riff from Sweet Child of Mine on anything and pump you up. Like, that's a cool guitar riff. But also, like, it's so cool.
It's cool because it can pump you up. It could also make you a little bit emotional too. It's one of those too. Once you know the context behind that riff and what that song.
Yeah. That's another discussion. But like, it was one of those ones where when I was watching it, I was like, oh, someone's gonna win a championship. But then, like, right in the back of my mind, someone's gonna lose and someone's gonna be done with Little League. And that was like, that's why I had the opposite emotions watching that little promo.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great time though. We're excited for it.
Nothing more pure than Little League in baseball, because we've been right on the flag from the get-go, and like we said before, there's nothing better than watching a kid win a championship, because the joy, it's just unrestricted joy when they win a championship.
Absolutely, and I mean, we love being able to showcase that too on full display. So to be able to have those kind of moments be captured and eternalized forever right here on YSN, it's those kind of moments that we live for.
Yeah, it's going to be an awesome night. It's going to be an awesome night, and once again, in this district format, it's not win or go home. It's win or go home for Poland, not win or go home for Boardman. If Poland wins the first game, they'll play again tomorrow. But once you're out of districts, it is championship, no more if game. So enjoy the if game this week.
Yeah, you get one more week of it before you say bye to it, and then all bets are off.
All bets are off. Want to shout out some other Little League action. Well, I should say youth baseball action that happened from our family schools. United Pony League won another championship, and man, these 14U kids from United are now 27-2 on the summer.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. You think United has? 14U. That means they're coming up. Like, they're right there on the precipice of being on the high school team, and they're having a heck of a summer.
Showcasing it, right? I mean, they're showcasing just exactly what they got and leaving nothing behind either. I mean, that's a heck of a season too, opening some eyes for the upcoming high school year.
You think the EOAC is on full alert?
It's already a really good conference too in baseball.
Like in baseball, you're going to have Columbiana in there. You're going to have Lisbon's always good in baseball. Here comes this scrappy United team with a lot of talent on that roster.
Absolutely, a lot of talent on that roster, and one that's going to be able to throw punches with just about any team in that conference too. So it's going to be an interesting one.
Punches being that key word. I want to go over some names that came up big for them over the weekend real quick. Gotta get Hanoverton.
As looking over at United too, there's just one of those teams too that have always had great coaching too. We just saw Coach Ziegler too, that was from United, go over to Beaver local, kind of staying local, but another big name. They've always had great coaching, big names that go through there that know how to play the game, play it the right way, and pass it on to the youth as well. So just seeing that kind of the teams flourish at those kind of levels as well, it just showcases exactly why United is as good as they are.
Here's what they did this weekend. They beat Fairless 11-1 on Saturday. Then they came back on Saturday. They beat Oroville 16-6. On Sunday, they beat Manchester. I mean, these are Akron, Manchester. That's, And then they beat Hillsdale, and then they closed out the weekend with the championship as they beat the Boys of Steel. And that steel is spelled like thievery, so they must steal a lot of bases with a name like that. You better be aggressive on the base pass if you're going to name yourself that, right?
If not, it's just like, what are you doing? If they do it comically, like they're just a bunch of like big guys that hit tanks that just like won't steal base at all, but it's all for.
They have kids that can't even spell speed. We hit tanks.
We just know how to hit home runs. Yeah. That's it.
Some of the big bats for United in that championship game. Jackson went 2 for 2 with 2 RBI. I'm going to get the – hold on. That's Kevin Jackson went 2 for 2 with 2 RBI. He was big in the weekend. And once again, United now 27-2 on the summer for that 14U baseball team.
And what else can you really ask for from United, right? I mean, that's success on all levels, on all.
Yeah, I guess the only other thing you can ask out of United is Wi-Fi signal.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, Hanoverton not the most generous with that, right?
But that comes with the territory. We're all good. That was just a friendly jab. The youth baseball softball winner over the weekend, Austintown's 12U softball team, which we saw in the district tournament at the Field of Dreams last week. They got the win in the Brookfield softball tournament over the weekend. So they are still kicking in the summer, and they got a big win for their program moving forward. As we know, the Austintown is going to have talent coming up, especially 10U, who's still waiting for their chance to go compete at state. And for 10U, because there's no Little League World Series, it's state and that's it. You get to win state and that's the end of your season. So that 10U team will be playing in state in a couple of weekends after the bigger kids have kind of wrapped up. They have to make sure those the older ones are wrapped up for the World Series, and then they come back to the young ones. So 10U Austintown, who won a district last week, will be in action. I believe they start July 23rd, which is a week from this Saturday down in Ashtabula.
So stay tuned to that. We'll get you updated too. Our social media pages always posting updates on that as well.
That's another chance to see Mia Hamley, who, if you haven't seen pitch for Austintown 10U team, you better go see.
While you got a chance still, right? I mean, while the iron's hot, strike, right? You gotta get out there and see it.
I'll tell you, the clock won't strike midnight on her for a while because she's in 10U. She's got some time, but this is the last chance to see her for the summer. She brings gas, Ty, like straight up velocity for a 10U pitcher. It's incredible.
What you love to see too is just these talented players continuing to showcase that they're able to do it at much younger ages than ever before, and it's just continuing to be nothing but.
Got Austintown to the championship without giving up a hit. Gave up just a couple in a Poland in the championship game, but she got him there to the first 2 rounds. No hits allowed, no runs, no hits.
It's what you love to see, right? That's pitching success at all.
That's what we call the flex. The ultimate flex on people.
It's not surprising seeing these programs that have quality arms in baseball and softball continue to have quality arms because they just continue to reload as they already are loaded up.
Success builds success, right?
Absolutely.
We've seen it with so many programs, every sport. When you have success, it makes the younger generation in that program want to live up to that bar, and it makes success continue.
Yeah, absolutely. When there's tradition, like I said, tradition will speak volumes in programs too, and you don't want to be that team that gives it up.
It's going to be interesting because, like everyone, we brought up Springfield football a little bit earlier, and I know we're going to preview them. We're going to go dive deep, but this just popped up when I was thinking about it. They lost a lot this year. There's a lot of talent leaving that Springfield football team, but what they did do while they were there was build the tradition of really strong winning. You think that's going to be? I think that's going to be enough. I think they're going to get a lot more out of this Tigers team. I think a lot of people are seeing that, expecting them to just be mediocre again, or kind of go back into a tailspin because they lost so much time. I don't think so. I think the younger generation got to watch those players for 4 years and say, this is what it takes. This is the standard, and let's meet up to it.
You got to figure it had at least some kind of effect on them, right? There's players that are coming back on this team this season too, so they don't want to be that team that kind of just gives it up. They've set a standard over the last few years of getting to that level or getting to the playoffs at least. I wouldn't be surprised if you see Springfield in the playoff talks come towards the end of the season.
Oh, well, yeah, playoff talks for sure. I mean, if they're not one of the top 16 teams, I'd probably eat this hat, and I'd eat every hat in my closet.
Ant's not messing around. He's just all right. We're gonna have to coffee this down. not ants eating a hat sandwich. Then
Yeah, like no, come on, like they're not going to be one of the top 16 teams in the region.
but what I'm saying too is like,
I get what you're saying. You're saying is they're going to be like in the discussion top seeds. Like okay, like not just getting in the playoffs, but
yeah.
playoffs.
I mean,
playoffs
fans too. So forgive me for not being.
Yeah, it's okay. I think what you were going for, whether this playoffs were expanded or not, I think they would have been the top 8 even if they weren't expanding. I think what you were going for is they would be in the talk of teams that make runs in the playoffs.
Yeah. I think they'll definitely be able to get it back into that where they're hosting a playoff game. I definitely think for sure they're going to make top 16. But I think you could see them top 8. I don't think necessarily top 4 still. They might surprise us and do that, but I still think you're going to see them in those top 8 teams.
They're going to benefit from now moving down to 7 because now all of a sudden a lot of those teams they play stay in D6. So they're going to get bonus points for beating teams that are in a division above them.
That's huge too, right? I mean, and computer points means everything for sure.
So it might be beneficial for Springfield that they went down to 7 because now, like you said, last year a lot of those teams they played outside of the non-conference teams were D6 or a couple of D7. But now they're going to be a couple of D7 and then a lot of D6. They're going to be able to play, and they're going to get extra points from all those D6 teams that they beat if they're able to beat them.
And computer points, we know Joe Idle has showcased it before. Those mean everything.
He is a wizard, and no one will convince me differently. He uses sorcery.
That was awesome when we had him too featured on YSN as well.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be too surprised if maybe we have a yearly showing of Joe Idle on YSN.
I think, if I remember, I think Steve Leslie did that interview.
Yeah, he did, and that was a great interview just to kind of break down what all these computer points mean and what we're seeing from everything.
How he got magical powers.
What was that?
I said how he got magical powers.
Yeah, how he got his wizardry too, and being able to figure out all that.
Did he go to Hogwarts? That kind of stuff.
Yeah, all that stuff. But no, we're going to be excited for that. Football season's going to be right around the corner, and I know fall sports going to be in full swing.
4 Fridays.
It's crazy. It's crazy how close it is. We're coming up on it, Ant, and we're going to have previews for you starting next week, too.
What? I'm not ready.
Ant's just sitting there, just a little bit.
I don't mind fall. I just don't want fall weather.
Yeah. Like I said, though, you got that summer weather that's going to hang around towards the beginning for you.
I know, but you know this in Northeast Ohio, we don't get much of a fall. We get like a couple of weeks maybe of a fall weather, and then it's right into here. You're 30 degrees and snow. I have a fun winter that lasts 6 months.
That's what you get, right? You get cold, and then you get a little bit of hot.
Cold, a little bit of hot, and then maybe a couple of weeks of spring and fall weather.
Yeah, and
if you're a fan of that like 60 degrees spring weather, you must hate it here because you get it for maybe 2 weeks.
You really do. You don't get it too often here.
And then when you get it, it'll be then when you get it after that, it'll be like at the nighttime. You have to go out at like 8 o'clock. It's finally 60 degrees. Yeah.
That's
might be some.
Gotta be a night owl.
Might have quite a bit of football that has the kickoff temperature. It's like 60-ish. That's usually the first couple weeks of football. Good idea to have them.
It ends. I mean, we're going to be, Halloween. On Halloween when the football season ends now.
Those September days, they get just as hot. But I think what happens I'm not a meteorologist. When we venture into the fall and the winter, the nights start to get colder first, and then obviously it trickles into the day. So I think you're not going to be playing in the heat, but you're also not going to be playing in the cold. So it's going to be a good mix.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, too. They changed some things, too. They moved the season back, one of the big OHSAA movements, too. Mm-hmm. I was also hearing, too, by 2023, it looked like they're going to allow jewelry be.
Well, that's for baseball. They just announced that this season.
I mean, that's doing the most, right, for OHSAA.
2023, which is next baseball season. You're going to be able to have jewelry. And then they put a caveat on it. They said, as long as it doesn't present a possibility for injury. So then you have to see, well, is it umpire's discretion whether or not that jewelry is going to be danger for injury?
just to open up this discussion too, like, I mean, I'm not a big fan of just hating on OHSA for everything too. Like, you give them credit when credit's due when they make a good decision. Like, we had a whole meeting on this, on jewelry discussion for all of this, right? We're just,
I think because there were several, people in districts and in state and in regionals that were told you can't get on this field because they're wearing like one of these little rubber bracelet.
exactly. Here's Chris Ziegler's comment too. You have to ask, what's the gain to change it?
And they're just trying not to be sticks in the mud anymore.
I guess, right? Like, but there's so many other issues I feel like that we could be getting together and meeting about right now, as far as like OHSA. Like, why is it that we're meeting?
We're gonna talk about jewelry today.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about the possibility of allowing jewelry on baseball softball.
Should we talk about like district alignments and then nope, gotta fix this jewelry problem. I can't say it without laughing.
It's great to like throw them a bone, and I'm all for it. But like, there's more pressing issues at hand here.
Not in baseball.
No, not in that sport at all. Not in the slightest. We just had how many rain delays too, and issues with umpires.
I know, right?
It was like there was issues all around too. But jewelry, it's
jewelry.
I know the rain you can't control, but like there was issues scheduling too, rescheduling and getting all that together. And I mean, I know OHSA doesn't have necessarily exact control.
They control the weather.
Yeah, no, they can't control the weather. But I mean, getting umpires hired in too, and that's what's crazy.
They have Storm on their payroll.
Yeah, it feels like it sometimes.
No, but I mean, it's funny. And then the caveat to the end of that sentence was, unless the jewelry has a danger of injury. But then you can't really like put guidelines on that. So is it umpire's discretion? Hey, that might be dangerous. I don't think you should wear that.
Who knows?
At that point, umpire could say anything. Like they could say earring's dangerous because it's in your ear hole, and if you get hit in the helmet, that earring can rip out your ear, which I guess is a possibility.
That band is cutting off your circulation.
This wristband is way too tight. You're gonna lose your ability to grip. And if you do that, the bat's gonna fly out of your hand and it could hit somebody. So I'm gonna need you to lose that bracelet real quick.
You're just hearing that all on hot mic too. Just like you're gonna have to take that off.
Yeah, it's like office space. Yeah, I'm gonna need you to take that off real quick because it could lead to an injury. So if you could do that ASAP, that'd be great.
Yeah, it feels like that sometimes with the way these seasons turn out, man. With the things we focus on, but nonetheless, it looks like there is going to be a change in that too.
Does that mean we can see a pitcher come out with like the bling that's like doing this every time he pitches? I hope so. Like you're going to pitch and you see this chain just go spinning around like a top. It's like if that's not danger for injury, I don't know what is. If you have like a giant cross swinging around your face,
someone like the Rick Ross change, just like gold change, like big change, just like down.
You come out with Flavor Flav's clock.
Oh my God! Just go all out. You got to, right?
But I am amazed that pitchers, in college and pros, they don't care about jewelry, right? So they're wearing like legit like cross chains, and it's like they're spinning around when they're pitching. I'm like, how has someone not been hit in the eye with a spinning cross or a chain that's like whipping around while they're pitching? How does that not happen?
Yeah, that's pretty
like you try to keep it under your shirt, but we've seen pitchers with it flying around as they're pitching.
I had a metal. I used to wear a metal necklace that the chain broke to, where I swear I had it like either hit me in the mouth or nose at least like a dozen times in my life too. So.
I'm not on jewelry. I like the wristbands. This is my jewelry. My wristbands.
That's where it ends.
I've done the necklace thing before, but like, one personal note about Anthony. When I walk, I kind of do it like this. So when I walk. And I used to wear jewelry when I was in high school or when I was in middle school. That necklace would be like doing this all day, and that's not for me. And I've never been a watch guy, even though one time I'll never let this down in my household. I was like, hey, what time is it? Never worn a watch before in my life, but like for some reason my brain went, I should look at my wrist for a clock for a time.
It's
I'll never live that one down. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Never been a watch guy. Never been a ring guy either. Like I feel like I don't. Never really wore rings.
You're not gonna come in just like decked out jewelry one day.
You see me with like everything.
And just like chains, rings, ears.
I got anklets,
sunglasses, nose piercings. Like he's just all out. Just
I got the diamond right there,
a completely different person. Your chair's studded out. It's gold rimmed, diamonds all over.
This is the new Anthony. You all have to accept him now.
I took out an $80,000 loan for this chair.
I got gold spinners on my chair.
Oh, your chair looks badass though. It's like decked out.
It's got the neon lights underneath it.
Yeah. Looking at we were talking about OHSAA too, and just things they changed. Aside from the jewelry, the fall sports, I'll just go over the breakdown division wise on how everything is going to break down for everyone. For golf, there's going to be 2 divisions for girls, 3 for boys with no competitive balance. Girls tennis is going to have 2 divisions, no competitive balance. Field hockey, 1 division, no competitive balance. Cross country is going to be separated into 3 for girls and boys, no competitive balance. Soccer, the same 3 for girls and boys, but that one is using competitive balance. Girls volleyball, of course, is still 4 divisions using competitive balance, and of course, football is still 7 using competitive balance and 4 regions per division.
That's a lot to take in.
It's a lot to take in, but if we go one by one, you start in golf. It's 2 divisions for the girls, 3 for the boys, no competitive balance there, and I mean, in that one, I feel like that's when using competitive balance, which I guess to just break that down, that's essentially what like Joe Itel kind of utilizes too, is just the schedule that they have, who they're playing, the wins they're getting.
The very quick watered down version of competitive balance is like when you're counting like you count not attendance, but when you count class size for school divisions. Anyone that lives in your district is 1, but if you are outside the district and you come in, they count as your competitive balance, and they'll go up to 3 or however 4, whatever. So if your competitive balance is 0, that usually means that you have no one that's not in your district that is in your school. So like if I live in Boardman, if I went to South Range right now, I wouldn't count as 1 boy for the South Range.
It would be plus something, right? Yeah, that's. I remember that being
more that goes into it. It's not that simple, but that's pretty much like the watered down.
In a watered down case of it too. But interesting to me that golf is separated into 2 divisions for the girls, 3 for the boys as well too.
I think it's just because there aren't as many
participation numbers, which I know for a fact. Like that's a case where golf is getting really popular in for the girls side of things too, and with women especially too. Brian Tolnar will attest to that too. And I think we're not too far off to seeing those divisions kind of even out at 3 and 3.
If you want to know the talent that we have in the golf area, I mean, we had someone from the Ysn family win the girls 17 U17 and the AJGA. We had someone from the boys U17 and the Ysn family. Someone from the boys U15 won, and the girls. We had 4 winners from Ysn affiliated schools win that regional to go and qualify for the next round. So golf in the area, not going to be hurting.
Yeah, and
Brian knows that more than anybody.
We look to try to cover all these sports in the fall too. In golf, we always do. We always thank Brian Tolnar too for giving us those expertise, because a lot of high school golfers go through Mill Creek too. So Brian Tolnar has the fortunate to have the eyes on these kids too.
Not only is it the home for 8 of our teams, like it's their home course, but there's also invitationals that go on at Mill Creek. There aren't too many teams on this wall behind me that don't play at least 1 round during the golf season at Mill Creek Park.
So you see a little bit of everyone there too, and Brian Tolnar gets to see a lot of local golfers too. So we thank him for his expertise on that too. Girls tennis is one of those too, and where we talk about it, and we've said it before. Girls tennis happens in the fall, but not boys tennis. So you only have girls tennis going on in the fall right now.
It's all about Title IX with that.
Yeah.
You have to balance both. Boys tennis balances out in the spring, and girls tennis balances out something in the fall. So it's that is all have to do with Title IX.
So 2 divisions for that, but it's still interesting that that's how the season, like you see like tennis would go on for boys and girls at the same time, but it's just interesting that one season happens in the spring and one happens in the fall. But for the ladies this time around, they're going to probably have a benefit because this spring was pretty wet. I mean, I know tennis, you don't have to worry necessarily as much, but the weather was not favorable for this spring. So getting to start in a little bit of summer weather for the ladies.
Well, the tennis coaches in the area are lucky because they get to practice inside. So even if it's like if it was raining and thunderstorming, softball, baseball games would be canceled, and you can practice inside in gym, but that doesn't really give you much. You go into an indoor tennis court, you're getting the exact same thing that you would be if you're outside. So that's one of the benefits tennis has.
Going to be 2 divisions in that too with girls tennis, but that's going to be exciting to kind of get in that realm or stay in that realm because we were in it with spring a little bit on the boys side. Now you get to the ladies' turn. They're up too this year for tennis.
Person's got a really good girls tennis team that we'll probably be highlighting at some point this fall.
We're going to have to too. I'm excited to get into it a little bit. How about this one? And for maybe one we could try getting into. Field hockey is going to be 1 division all the way through. And I mean, that's a thing we got to look at. How many teams do all of our local teams? I can't imagine all of them sport a field hockey team right now. I don't know how many of our teams sport a field hockey team right off the rip.
That will be something that we have to do a deep dive into.
We're going to deep dive into it, though, but that's one sport, too. Like, when we say we want to add things, too, I mean, field hockey is one of those, too. I've seen a couple field hockey games, and it's always been pretty fun and pretty energetic from what I remember watching, so.
I've always been, because when you think hockey, you think the long stick with the blade.
Yeah.
You look at a field hockey stick and it's like a little curve.
Way different.
And you're like, what's that?
Yeah,
it looks like you're gonna hit me with a hook.
just hook them up. And then of course we have our big ones too, cross country that happens too, and then soccer, girls volleyball, and then football that also happen in fall.
What's the cross country divisional breakdown?
Cross country, I'm sorry. Cross country is 3 divisions for girls and boys and no competitive balance. The other 3, soccer, volleyball, and football, all use competitive balance.
So 3 divisions for cross country. Okay.
And they don't use the competitive balance, which I guess makes sense. I don't know how many are going and switching schools, but that feels like something that you kind of could use competitive balance for is cross country, because there's a lot of really good cross country programs in the area too.
They brought a ringer from overseas that runs really well. No competitive balance.
No competitive balance.
I think because there aren't there's only 3 divisions, so like competitive balance, okay, you're gonna take it's such a gap between 2 and 3 at that point.
Yeah. I mean, really you bunch more kids up when you use less divisions. That's for sure. That's true. Right. So it comes down to it, and we have seen a lot of teams, or when it comes to kind of like individuality sports like that too, where it kind of because you can win as a team. You do combine scores with cross country, but it's also individuality, your time as well too. We've seen a lot of kids have success from even Division 4 schools traditionally too, like in your track and field scene too. When it's individual like that, all kind of bets are off too, when you don't need a whole team necessarily score to represent you.
They're really good running programs. Everyone that you saw have success in track is pretty much gonna equal that success in cross country.
Part 1 of the season is cross country before track.
McDonald especially. McDonald has the straight up runners. They're always at the forefront of cross country in Division 3. They're going to be the same thing. You got to talk with a little bit of a McDonald's program representative. I think I had power issues that day, so I missed that interview. I definitely remember watching it too, and that was a state champion.
It's a prestigious program over there with that McDonald has put together.
That was their 71st state champion in their program. So I mean,
they're just like, champion after champion. I just thought of the Grinch too. It's just like instead of jury duty, it's like championship. And then they just go with like a quick spurt. Quick. That's what they've been like recently too.
They Oprah it with their state champ. You get one. You get one. Everybody gets one.
They're another one of those great programs. The Village of McDonald too knows how to breed.
They're gonna have a really good volleyball team too. Young last year, they bring almost everybody back. I think they have one of the best young liberos in the Ysn coverage map in Bonilla.
Give McDonald some credit for especially girls athletics over there. They have been rocking it in a multitude of sports over the last few seasons too. Even when they were supposed to have down years, I think they've overachieved what their expectations were in a lot of seasons.
Bringing Coach Klockner back for a second year, so they're going to have a second year under him. And his daughter, by the way, is a really good setter, probably going to be Division 1. So they have a lot of talent down there at McDonald. I'm excited to see them and how they grow in their next year, because they were young. They took some young lumps. They had some matches that you went like, that's not McDonald. That's not the McDonald that we know. That's going to happen with young teams. They're 1 year older. And I think there are a couple of teams, especially in volleyball, that are going to match up with that sentiment too. They took a couple of lumps last year because they were young, but they're going to come back this year 1 year older.
If I know anything, I know Western Reserve Sport's a good team, so it's yet again a battle of Blue Devils for a conference championship.
Well, Lisa Eichert's still going to be there and strong.
And, Western Reserve is another one of those programs that just volleyball was, and especially with women's sports, girls sports in general, another one of those programs that just they know how to get successful girls in and out of that program.
That and West Branch. I mean, West Branch is going to have a good volleyball team. They're going to have a good soccer team too. So they're not hurting at all.
No, these girls teams too, girls sports upticking around here, man. There's a lot of great talent around this area.
In fact, a couple of those West Branch players were on that Infinity team that we talked about last week that went to Indianapolis and finished 9th in the nation.
You talk about all the excitement with all these volleyball players in, and just imagine we're going to have a chance to get them all under one venue too for the All-Star game.
That's another reason to watch volleyball this year, because you're going to be watching, you're going to say that girl could be an All-Star.
We are going to need those kind of votes and those kind of nominations from people too, because like we keep our eyes open too, but we obviously can't see every single little detail too. So if you guys have nominations, we of course always we accept you guys sending them in too. We want to get a good cast of all-stars for this game.
That's where Baird Brothers Big Dog of the Valley comes in, because it tells us sometimes we get nominations from guys and girls that we didn't see that week, and we go, oh man, maybe we should keep an eye on that person because they're putting up some really good numbers. And then
you want a guaranteed surefire invite to the All-Star game? Win a Baird Brothers Big Dog of the Week. I think you're gonna.
That's pretty much a lock.
You're getting an invite to the All-Star game, and that's also the chance for the community to have your voices be heard, because you can nominate all those players for Big Dog and then get the community to vote. And if you get that community show out.
Although if it went like it did last year, we might have like 4 Beaver local volleyball players.
Yeah, represented, man. That's another team that's going to be great, and like they are every single year.
Local went nuts for volleyball voting, and they should, because they're a really good program.
Beaver local, Wellsville, another program that loves their volleyball too. Like, don't count out the Wellsville Tigers.
Presley Stokes.
Yeah. You got to talk about Presley Stokes. Like, she is just on a tear right now. I'm seeing so many posts about this girl every single day. And it ain't even the volleyball season yet for high school, but she's just tearing it up in AAU.
Like, mandatory practices haven't even started yet, and we're still hearing rumblings about how good she's going to be.
I didn't get a chance to see her live. I know DJ's gotten a chance playing.
I did too. I went down to Strongsville for the regional final game. So made the trip to Strongsville last year.
I guess real quickly too, we don't have to spend a whole quick time on it, but I mean, since I haven't had the chance to see her, in your opinion, what makes her so dominating on a volleyball court?
She's got a vertical, like she can jump out of the gym. That for a volleyball player, if you have a vertical, you're gonna be a really good attacker. And don't say spiker. She's not a spiker. She's an attacker, or she's a hitter. She's a hitter, or she's an attacker. All right. But anyway, yeah. She's got a good vertical. She's got a heck of a vertical, and that makes her a really good volleyball player. Now, also she's really well coached. She does the fundamentals. She does the approach really well. All those things. But it wouldn't mean too much if she didn't have the vertical leap that she does.
I've only gotten to see her jump out of the gym, like I said, on film. So I've never gotten, it's not, and I know it's not the same experience because I've seen basketball games plenty of times where it's like, it's not the same. The vertical isn't the same seeing it on tape as it is in person too. So like I said,
we have a lot of good volleyball in the area, a lot of good middle blockers, a lot of good tall attackers. I would argue she probably has the largest vertical of anyone in this.
That's insane. I love volleyball, basketball players with a good vertical too. So
plus her arm speed is elite. So she's hitting that ball, with velocity.
Just bringing it down too. I mean, a kill master, I guess. What you would say.
So what I want to see from her this year is the finesse of volleyball. Like, can she hit a cut shot? Can she read the defense at the net and say, okay, I need to tip. I need to, hit it down the line this time. Can she make those reads and do the things that really make you an elite volleyball player?
Some high praise from Siggy too, saying she plays all the way around legit. And I mean,
she's a full rotation player too. So
Chris Sigler, a guy that knows her really well too. He spent a lot of time in that area, so he's very.
She's gonna have a new setter this year because Emily McNichol has graduated. So that's gonna be interesting because the bond between a setter and a hitter is much like catcher and pitcher in baseball. You got to have it right. The setter's gonna know the hitter inside and out, where she likes to be set, where she wants the ball in the net. So you're gonna have to build that relationship, which is what the summer is for. And they're well coached, so I'm sure they're going to be doing a great job at that. But that's going to be something to watch. Anytime a really good hitter is a young coming up and then has to get a new setter, that's always something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I'm excited too, as there's a lot of great athletes going into their senior year, and this is where we see all these great junior seasons that these athletes have. We see them oftentimes uptick it for the senior year because it's like it's freshman year, you're kind of learning the ropes. Sophomore year, you're starting to really get into like the varsity swing. You're getting more minutes. Junior year, oftentimes you're figuring it out for the first time, putting it, and then senior year, you put it all together. You're finally putting it all under one banner, having a great season all the way out.
Remember, we're still getting through the class of people that missed that 2020.
Yeah.
So,
missing that sophomore season is critical because, like, for a lot of these seniors that missed that it would be their sophomore season that they missed, correct now, or was it freshman season?
This year would be. Let me do the math. So if they're seniors in 2022, they would have been their class of 2023. So they would have been. They missed. Well, they didn't. Volleyball didn't miss a season. That's right. We came back and had volleyball in the fall. It was just no. We only missed spring. So X all that, but it wasn't a normal season.
Yeah, no, it wasn't a normal season, but these players do like your players that are coming in for their senior seasons. They got to put it all together. I mean, you talk about all these girls that are coming back for another year. It's going to be so exciting too. And yeah, you lose those seniors, but it also opens the door for a lot of these new names to come out and make a name for themselves right away. And we've seen plenty of girls do that their freshman year.
Absolutely. And we're excited to continue our coverage of all the fall sports on YSN as we venture ever closer to that August date when mandatory practices start and we start getting these rosters together and getting these schedules together and have a lot of meat to chew on. We're going to take our second break of the day. When we come back, we'll go over what's going on the network tonight and much more on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Jimmy Sudman here, director of Isle, Purple Cat, and Golden String. We are happy to support YSN and two of my favorite people, Scotty Mincher and Super Dave O'Malley. We are an agency that provides services for adults with disabilities. We infuse humor, passion, and joy into their lives. If you know of any folks with disabilities that need our assistance, please contact us.
How lucky are we to have not one, but two 18-hole Donald Ross Championship golf courses? right here in our backyards. Mill Creek Golf Course was selected by Golf Week as one of America's 30 best municipal courses, continuing to challenge golfers of all levels and featuring PGA professionals, golf instruction, a players rewards club, kids programs, and a pro shop and grill room for a memorable golf experience. Call or click to schedule your tee time at Mill Creek Golf Course.
At Greenwood Chevrolet, we offer a worry-free experience for all our customers.
From sales to financing and even service,
We'll help build your perfect vehicle
and lock in your trade value
while your vehicle is being built.
No worries.
We guarantee financing,
regardless of your situation or credit history.
No worries. And when your vehicle needs service,
our award-winning team will get you back on the road.
No worries.
That's what going the extra mile means. Only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Now is the time to think about your future, where you want to go, what you want to be. Your future can start now at Kent State Salem or Kent State East Liverpool. We have programs that will open doors and provide opportunities for you to pursue your passion. We are affordable. We are close. You call it hometown. We call it Kent State University. Learn more at www.kent.edu/Columbiana. You belong here.
It's a new year at Acura of Boardman and Boardman Mitsubishi with huge savings on over 350 fully inspected vehicles. We have cars, trucks, SUVs, minivans, and work vehicles. We don't have it, our team will find it. We aim for 100% credit approval with payments as low as $99 per month. And as always, we'll pay top dollar for your trade. For a great vehicle and a great experience, come see why everyone is stopping by at Acura Boardman and Boardman Mitsubishi.
You're not waiting to see what the world has in store for you. It's more about what you have in store for the world. All you need is the opportunity. All you need are the resources of a large university and the advantages of a personalized academic setting where you can experience new worlds in the arts and sciences, business, and education and make them your own. We are where you shape your future. We are Youngstown State University and proud.
You know, being able to have success on the football field and the basketball court and just every aspect of, my sports career is now documented. One of the greatest things about high school sports is to be able to talk about it for the rest of your life and to look back on the days with my buddies whenever we had some battles, whether it was with, our rival or just another game. And I could go back and look at it and, not only myself, but my family members, my teammates, and it's something that will last a lifetime. My name is Parker Sherry, and my sports network is your sports network.
It's storm season.
I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
And Storm Tracker 21 is ready.
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
On air.
And locally, we're going to have a lot of eyes on our area.
Online.
All right, let's talk high-risk futurecast and the timing of this weather.
On social media and on our app.
Notice we'll have scattered showers on Thursday.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
The severe weather threat now through around sunset this evening.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartman alongside Ty Bartell as we continue this beautiful Monday edition of Running Point. Sorry, I'm stuck in the table. My the button of my shorts got lodged in a little lip on the table, and I was like, I can't move.
Yeah.
So back to what we have going on tonight on the network is there's plenty of action tonight. We will have the continuation of the Class B Championship Series tonight from the Scene Park. That's going to be at 7 o'clock. Richie Giuliano going to be on the call. Game 2. Ty, we talked about earlier how important this game is for Creekside because you fought really hard. You played a really good game, but you lost 2-1. You're going to come back tonight and you got to get a win. You can't let the 2-1 loss deflate you and fall 2-0 down in the series.
I mean, honestly, too, and it comes down to it where you need a big win here, and you're going to have to do it against one of the aces, the many aces that Astro has in its arsenal to throw at you. You're going to have to go up against a good pitcher tonight, plain and simple. You're going to have to beat good quality pitching. Obviously, you could hope for a pitcher not to have his best stuff and have an off night, but you can't bank on it. You can't bet on it. So you have to go in there with the game plan. We need to score enough runs, and most importantly, the guy that's going to be on the mound too, we got to play clean defense behind it. We got to help him out as much as we can and hope that he can get out there and just battle with a very good quality Astro lineup. Creekside not out of this one by any stretch, but they're going to have to go in there with that mindset. We're going to need to do enough to get a win and make this a 3-game series.
Going into this game, if you're Creekside, you reflect on last night and you say, we hit better than Astro. We out-hit them. We put runners on base. So we just need that timely hit. I know it's easier said than done, but it's all we need to win a game is we need to play the exact same way, play good enough to win, do all the things that you just said, play clean defense, pitch well, but then just make those opportunities count when we get them, because we out-hit the Astro Falcons last night.
They allowed 2 runs scored in the first and did not allow Astro to score another run since that point. So Astro hasn't scored since the first inning of game 1. That's great pitching from Creekside, and they showcase that they could stay in there and battle. They just got to put some finishing touches on it too. And you really got to look at it. If we take that first inning out of that game, we beat them ever since that first inning. We take that first inning out, we're currently beating them since that first inning. We can't start off on the wrong foot again. You can't let them jump out to a big enough lead and just start having that confidence, because if you can immediately shut them down, make it 0-0 going into your half of the inning too, or if you're batting in the top 2, don't let them get that early advantage, because if that pitcher, whoever it is on the mound for Astro, if they have that confidence and they're pitching with the lead, it becomes worlds harder trying to beat the Astro Falcons then.
I believe that the Creekside will be the home team today. I want to double check on that.
And if that's the case, if Creekside's the home team, it is wildly important, I think, for them to make sure that they don't allow Astro to get an early advantage in that one. Because if Astro gets out and they score top half of the inning and they get an advantage for their pitcher, I mean, it just pitching with confidence does so much for tournament time.
Creekside will be the home team. So if it's a close game like it was last night, they at least have the advantage of having those bats in the bottom of the frame.
I think it just, I'm going to keep circling back to it. I think it just comes down to the fact that Creekside is going to need to try to jump out early, try to get that quick inning in that top half, try to get some runs in the bottom half of the inning, get your pitcher a lead and see what you can do, right? I think it's striking early is important for Creekside. It might not be the same way of what we saw last night, but the way these two teams have arms for days, I mean, you can expect that it's going to be pitchers' duels if everyone's got their best stuff working.
Yeah, absolutely. And then when you look at the Astro Falcons, we'll talk about their side of things coming into today. You battled Creekside. They gave you probably the best game that they've given you all season. But you still got the win. You're up 1-0. You can't come into tonight with the mentality of, we got this. Like, you got to take care of business tonight. If you do that, that's a really big nail in the coffin. It's not the nail in the coffin, but it's a big 10-inch nail driven right into the side.
How about just some of these numbers for Astro Falcons if we want to get a little crazy. Let's look at these 18U numbers that Astro.
Let's get crazy.
Let's get real crazy with these numbers real quick. First and foremost, start off with the fact that they have a 373 batting average that leads the league. Team on base percentage of 496. Them as a team is almost getting on 50% of the time offensively. That is just that's a crazy stat to wrap your head around. They also, on top of that, lead the league in stolen bases by a wild margin. 124 steals to 4 times they were caught stealing this season. Second place team was Whiting at 62. So they're a team that knows how to not only hit, but they know how to move guys over and bring them in as well.
It's just not fair. Like, not only can they just hit the ball out of the park at will, it's like, hey, guess what? We can small ball you too.
To the tune of 251 runs batted in on the season as well. It's
out pretty nicely too. It's 250 runs that spread out through their lineup. They're tough. Like that's the whole point.
And when you have a team OPS of over 1,000, slugging percentage is over 500, like this is what we talk about. Like if you want to talk about like if you want to put Creekside in those shoes, the hero shoes, I guess this is the Empire, right? This is the Empire in this one. And if you're looking at Astro, this is business as usual. This is them just keeping up with this tradition of we've been successful. We've had some of the best athletes represent this city and this program for years now, and they did it once again with so many of the impressive offensive numbers. And that's not even getting into the pitching wise what Astro brings to the table.
Well, yeah, let's get into the pitching.
Yeah. Let me bring up the pitching numbers real quick for them. For some reason, the scene site doesn't let me bring it up in like one big group, so I just got to look it up in the individuals' teams. But the pitching stats too, them as a staff have a 1.71 ERA, holding opponents to a 1.72 batting average. Like, when you're holding opponents to that low of a batting average, it's just that's why the margin of victory has been so big for Astro this season.
And for Creekside to out-hit them last night, that's an absolute win. They didn't get the win on the scoreboard, but it's like, man, this team does not give up hits too often.
No, not at all. Also, I wanted to mention too, how about these walk to strikeout numbers for both batting and pitching wise for Astro? Astro's batting wise, Astro has walked, their lineup has walked 198 times comparative to 119 strikeouts. So what is that? Almost 80 more walks than strikeouts as a lineup. And then
I remember how to do the fraction math to get that ratio, but I don't know how to. I don't remember.
Flip it around. 263 strikeouts to 83 walks from their pitchers on the mound. Like it's just like you said, and just doesn't seem fair at times. And
that was the story last night because they struck out 10 hitters, didn't walk any, and Creekside, although they only gave up 2 hits and 2 runs, they walked 6, struck out 4.
There's something to be said about guys that can throw quality strikes too. It doesn't always need to be the fastest stuff. It can be a multitude of pitches. If you just have some breaking stuff that works, if you could throw your pitches for strikes and throw them for quality strikes, it becomes a nightmare for hitters too. As we see a lot of pitchers that's where they struggle with too. They can be great at blowing it by you, but if you're walking 4 or 5 guys and giving them opportunities that way, baseball hitters are going to be hitters eventually, and they're going to get a couple to drop in timely wise when they need to in big critical moments in key games. So I don't doubt for one second that Astros pitching in this game and going forward, they're not going to be allowing a lot of free passes. So you're going to have to earn your way on. Going to have to find a way to get those guys in too when they're in scoring position.
You know, when you think of it, I think this game goes either one of 2 ways. Either I don't think Astro is going to win another close game. I think either Creekside wins and it's close, or Astro runs away with it.
Yeah, that's exactly. I'm on that same wavelength with you, Ann, because I was thinking when I saw that game, I was like, it's either going to be like something where Creekside squeaks by like a run or 2 in game 2, and then we're going to be like, we have a series, and this is going to be a dogfight, or Astro just gets all the confidence in the world, and they say, okay, you gave us your best shot, we took your best shot. Now let's unload on you. And then it's one of those lopsided scores. Yeah.
And that's what it's been for the regular season matchups between Astro and Creekside. It's been domination from the Astro Falcons.
And, they're going to want to fly away with another victory. They're looking at 2 more that they need to walk away with championship.
If they run away with game 2, I'm going to say series over.
It's tough then. It's a tough ask to get 3 wins against this team that is like,
because then not only did they beat you, but they took your best shot and then they just ran away from you in game 2. Like, how do you come back from that?
It's going to be a battle of intestinal fortitude for Creekside, I think, going into this one.
Intestinal fortitude. Sounds like they need some Pepto-Bismol.
Yeah, it's going to be a battle of that for Creekside going into this one. Show your guts. What kind of guts you got going into this one?
I think if you're Creekside, just stay away from the walks. You gave up 2 hits last night, but walks count as hits. So you really, in the grand scheme of things, you gave up 8 base runners, 2 of them walks.
I said I think these first few innings are important, and because of how Astro can score, that's why I can't imagine you shutting them out multiple innings. But that first inning is going to be key. If you can get out of that top of the first, get your batters up, try to get a lead, because that's the thing. Creekside did not lead in that game. They need to play with a lead, experience what a lead is like. I think if Creekside can strike first, gets themselves a little bit of taste too, it can be like blood in the water for Sharks too. So let's see what Creekside can do in this first inning. But I think that first inning is going to be a huge key for them going into this one.
All right, let's look at what else will be on the network tonight. We have 2 championships going on in Little League Baseball from the Field of Dreams. And L1 will be featuring the 11U championship first between Boardman and Poland. That will be at 6 o'clock on L1. DJ Oakley and Kyle Wills will be there on the call. And then they'll stick around for game 2, which will be the 12U championship between Boardman and Poland as well.
It'll be exciting, too. Get a little bit of Class B, get a little bit of Little League, and you get a full night of baseball tonight, too, as we'll get you taken care of here. Right after our shows, too, that conclude at 4 o'clock today.
Double dip of Boardman and Poland.
It's what you love to see, right? It's what you love to see.
12U and 11U, both matchups. And once again, this will change when you get out of districts. But for districts, it is still double elimination. So if Poland wins tonight in either division, they would have to come back and play and win again tomorrow. When you get out of districts, don't get used to that, because when you get to state, championship becomes winner take all.
Bulldogs are hoping they have Tuesday matchups after tonight, so you know the Poland community is going to be buzzing for these games.
I'm just happy that they don't set it up like the super regionals used to be set up in baseball, where it's, hey, if you lose the first, because super regionals in college are 2 out of 3 series. So, hey, if you lose the first game, you got to come back the next day and win 2 in a row in a doubleheader. That was crazy. That was crazy. I'm so glad they fixed it. That's nuts. Now it's if they play Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So if you lose on Friday, win on Saturday, you play again on Sunday, which makes a lot more sense. Can you imagine if they played 2 tonight and it was like, hey, Boardman, Poland, you have to play again?
Yeah, you gotta go for safety concerns too, and that's the biggest thing too for these athletes, and that's good to err on the side of caution in these instances.
Oh yeah, both those games will be on L1 at the Field of Dreams.
They're nice fields. They're all beautiful too.
They're all beautiful fields.
It's kind of like Scene 1 with Bob Scene Park, where all those fields have the special feelings, but there's certain ones in that complex too that just have a little bit extra oomph on it.
A little bit extra. I think L1 has the double deck press box. I don't believe the other ones.
Yeah, they have all beautiful press boxes, but I believe you're correct. L1 has the double deck, and it's really nice. They're all really nice.
They pull out all the stops. I mean, they go nuts, and it's a great time. So if you can't get out the Field of Dreams tonight, make sure to tune into both 11U and 12U championships on YSN, 6 o'clock for the 11U and 8 o'clock for the 12U. Boardman wins either one of them, they're the champions. And if Poland wins either one of them, they'll be playing again tomorrow at the same place, same time.
Championship game 2 in Bob Scene Park, and then you got 2 champions that could potentially be crowned here on the network as well. So exciting times on YSNLive.com.
Well, I would say there's a lot on the line on the network tonight.
Yeah, for sure. 3 games, but I mean, it might not be the quantity that you're looking for, but the quality of games is definitely there too. High stakes on all of them.
If you want a little appetizer in between Power Hour and the games at 6, head over to our YouTube and our ysnlive.com. And last week, DJ had the opportunity to interview Chet Cooper, who is the director of the district in Little League, and he is our biggest kind of partner down at the Field of Dreams. He's a big reason why we get a spot in the press box. He makes sure that we are taken care of down there. So if you like our coverage of Little League, make sure to go watch the interview with Chet Cooper on ysnlive.com, YouTube, and you can even find it on the socials if you want to go and get the link there. And Ty, and whether on the YouTube, what do they do?
Yeah, if you're subscribed and if you hit the notification bell, you would have already known about that video.
I know. You would have never missed it. You wouldn't have had to have me tell you a couple of days later to go watch it.
Yeah, but I mean, there you talk about appetizers. There's plenty of content on there too to get you geared up as well. And like we said too earlier in the show, and I'll reiterate it now. Make sure you go check out our socials. DJ did a great job getting a little hype up video for tonight's games and action. So you definitely want to go check that out too. To a great tune behind "Sweet Child O' Mine." So
I wish it was on our media file. I would play it for you guys, but
yeah.
So. It's really good. It's really good. It gets you really hyped up for the game. So how about watch that Chet Cooper interview, then watch that little minute and a half video that promos the game, and then go right into the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Do it right after the show. Go get yourself a little bit of that. I mean, you could hold off on the interview if you want, but you should definitely at least get the preview first, and then you could get the interview right between game time and after Power Hour at 4:00. But you'll have a little bit of time to go swing by, watch that preview, and get yourself amped up for Little League tonight.
Oh, you will. And it's going to be a fun time. And I think secretly we're kind of hoping for more baseball. So, maybe we'll have an if game on Tuesday.
You never know. One of those Poland teams needs to pull it out, right?
We never root for people where we stay very even, but we always root for more baseball.
Yeah, we always love more baseball, so we'll take it if we get it.
Me and Ty, we're taking a 22-hour break like we always do. We'll be back tomorrow from 12 to 2 to go over all the recaps, all the action that goes on tonight. We'll recap it, and then we'll have some more fun as well, talking about future YSN, what we have in the fall sports going on, preview our previews, and we'll have a lot of fun on Tuesday's episode of Running Point. Join us then. And this has been an episode. Thank you. Casual Sports Podcast coming up next. And then Power Hour from 3 to